22 gigabytes of weights, 6 gigabytes of video memory. On paper, that job is already over before it starts. It is not. I ran it anyway, and it finished at a speed that made me recheck my own command 3 times. Today, I will show you about an AI model that is way heavier but runs on the potato specs. You might be wondering how it is possible, but relax folks, I've got you. I'm here to explain everything, so no need to panic. But before starting the video, make sure to subscribe so that you never miss any upload from our channel. Not slow, not technically working, usable. And before the comments start, no, this is not a quantization trick you have not heard of. And no, I did not rent a cloud GPU to fake this. Same card sitting in the same desktop the whole time. Here is the number first, because that is the only part anyone actually remembers. A 22 gigabyte model, 4-bit, split across a 6 gigabyte card and system RAM, held above 11 tokens a second on a sustained generation. The naive version of this same setup, the one most guides quietly assume you will land on, sat under 2. Same model, same card, 1 config file apart. That gap is the entire video, not the model, not the card, the gap. Let us start with the number that should stop you before you download anything. 22 gigabytes does not fit in 6. That is not close. That is not tight. That is nearly 4 times over. A model that size, stored even at a modest 4-bit quantization, is built out of roughly 40 billion parameters worth of weight. Sometimes fewer if it is a mixture of experts' design, sometimes more if it is dense. It does not matter which. The math in front of you is the same either way. Your card can hold a fraction of the file. Something has to give. The instinct most people have here is wrong, and I had it too. The instinct is shrink the model further. Go to 3-bit. Go to 2-bit. Compress until it fits. That instinct is exactly backwards, and it is worth saying why before we go near a terminal. Quantization below 4-bit does not fail quietly. It fails the model's judgment first, long before it fails to load. A model quantized to 2-bit will answer your question. It will just be wrong more often, in ways that are hard to catch because the sentence still reads fine. You do not want to solve a memory problem by making the model dumber. You want to solve it by moving weight somewhere else. That is the whole idea behind everything that follows. And it is the one sentence worth remembering if you skip the rest of this. Do not shrink the model to fit the card. Split the model across what you actually own. llama.cpp already knows how to do this. It has known how to do this for a while. Almost nobody uses the flag correctly, and the ones who do get the number I opened with. Here is the mechanism, and it is simpler than the marketing around it suggests. A transformer is a stack of layers. Every layer does the same shape of work. Attention, then a feed-forward block, then hand the result to the next layer. Nothing requires all of those layers to live in the same place. llama.cpp will happily put the first n layers on your GPU and leave the rest on the CPU. In ordinary system RAM, the flag is NGL, short for number of GPU layers, and the number you give it is the single most important decision in this entire setup. Get it wrong in one direction, and you overflow the card, and llama.cpp does not fail gracefully there either. It will try to allocate memory that is not there, and the process dies, sometimes with a cryptic CUDA error that tells you nothing about which layer broke it. Get it wrong in the other direction, and you leave VRAM sitting empty while the CPU carries weight it did not need to carry, and your tokens per second drops by half for no reason at all. There is a correct number in between, and it is not a guess, it is arithmetic. Take your model's total layer count. A 22 gigabyte model at 4-bit is commonly somewhere around 60 to 80 transformer layers, depending on architecture. Divide your usable VRAM, not your total VRAM, your usable VRAM, by the size of one layer. On a 6 gigabyte card, after the operating system and the display driver take their cut, you are realistically working with about 5 gigabytes. If each layer weighs in around 300 megabytes at this quantization, that is roughly 16 layers you can safely push to the GPU. Not 40, not as many as possible, 16. On this specific card, at this specific quantization. That number is the difference between the 11 tokens a second I got and the crash I got twice before I got there. This is where the first correction happens, the one I did not expect. I assumed more GPU layers is always better, because more work happening on faster hardware sounds like it should always win. It does not, past the point where you are cutting it close to VRAM headroom for the context cache. Push one layer too many onto the card, and you do not get a small slowdown. You get an out-of-memory crash mid-generation, after the model has already started answering, which is a worse failure than never starting at all. The safe number is always slightly under the theoretical maximum, not at it. Now, the part that actually explains the speed, the physics part, because a flag without. The physics behind it is just a magic incantation you copy from a forum post and hope works. Your GPU reads its own memory at somewhere around 300 to 450 gigabytes a second, depending on the card. System RAM, the DDR4 or DDR5 sitting on your motherboard, reads at somewhere between 25 and 60 gigabytes a second, depending on channel configuration. That is a real gap, somewhere around 8 to 12 times slower. But it is nowhere near the 90 times gap you get when the bottleneck is a drive instead of RAM. This is the detail that makes the whole guide work. Splitting between GPU and RAM costs you a manageable tax. Splitting between GPU and disk costs you almost the entire benefit of owning a GPU at all. That is why the flag matters so much, and why the number needs to be precise rather than approximate. Every layer you correctly place on the GPU runs at GPU speed. Every layer that spills to RAM runs at RAM speed, which is slower but still fast enough to be usable. The moment anything spills to disk, and it will if you set your context window too high for the RAM you actually have, your tokens per second falls off a cliff that has nothing to do with the model and everything to do with the storage tier it landed on. There is a second flag that matters here almost as much as the first one, and it is the one most guides skip entirely: the KV cache. The model's weights are only half the memory story. Every token you generate adds to an attention cache that grows as the conversation grows. And on a large context window, that cache can rival the size of the model itself. Left at full precision, a modest context window on a 22 gigabyte model can add several gigabytes on its own, which is exactly the headroom you just calculated for your GPU layers in the last step. Quantize the cache to cache type K, Q8, 0, and cache type V, Q8, 0. Bring that cache down substantially for a quality cost small enough that most people cannot tell the difference in a blind comparison. Skip this step, and the math from 3 paragraphs ago stops being true, because the cache eats the VRAM you budgeted 4 layers. The context length itself is the other lever, and it interacts with everything above it. A large context window is not free. It is not even cheap. Every 1,000 tokens of context adds cache weight, and that weight has to live somewhere. On a 6 gigabyte card running a model this size, a context window past roughly 8,000 tokens starts eating into the same VRAM you need for the GPU layers. And you either drop layers to make room, or you spill the cache to RAM, which is a smaller version of the same disk problem from earlier, just one tier up. If your task is long documents, plan your context budget before you plan your layer count, not after. Get this order backwards, and you will spend an hour tuning a number that a 5-minute plan would have made unnecessary. Here is a thread I found while checking this before recording, because I did not want to state a number I had not seen someone else hit independently. Someone running a comparable setup, a 24 gigabyte model on an 8 gigabyte card, one tier up from mine, landed on almost the identical layer to VRAM ratio I did, without knowing my numbers going in. They arrived at it by trial and error over an evening. I arrived at it by doing the arithmetic first. Same answer, different amount of time wasted getting there. That is the entire pitch for doing the math before you touch the terminal. One more flag worth knowing. Even though it will not apply to every model you try this on, if the model you are running is a mixture of experts' design rather than a dense one, there is a newer option that changes this calculation entirely. Recent llama.cpp builds added a flag that keeps the shared parts of the model on the GPU, while pushing only the expert weights. The parts that are not used on every single token. out to system RAM. For a mixture of experts model, this is a much better trade than the plain GPU layer split, because you are not paying the RAM tax on every token, only on the tokens that route to an expert sitting outside the card. If your 22GB model happens to be built this way, check for that flag before you touch NGL at all. It will very likely outperform the layer split approach on the exact same hardware. So which setting actually wins? Not in theory, on the run I actually did, on the card I actually own, the layer split configuration, tuned to the arithmetic above, cache quantized. Context capped at a sane number for the VRAM available, 11.4 tokens a second. Sustained, no crashes across a run long enough to matter. The naive default, same model, same card, no manual layer count, letting the tool guess, 1.8 tokens a second. And it guessed a GPU layer count so conservative that the card was barely doing anything. Same file, same hardware, one command flag apart, and a 6 times difference in how usable the thing actually was. That gap is not a benchmark trick. It is the entire reason this guide exists instead of a 2-line just run it post. The tool will run a 22GB model on a 6GB card by default. It will not run it well by default. The difference between those two outcomes is 4 numbers you can calculate in under a minute. Your usable VRAM, your per layer weight, your cache size at the context you actually need, and whether the model architecture gives you a better lever than the plain split. Here is how I would actually decide if you are about to do this yourself. If the model is dense, start with the layer arithmetic. Take your usable VRAM, subtract your quantized cache size at your target context, divide what is left by the per layer weight, and that is your NGL number. Quantize the cache to 8-bit before you do anything else. Cap your context at whatever your task genuinely needs, not the maximum the model advertises, because that maximum was never written with a 6GB card in mind. If the model is mixture of experts, check for the expert offload flag before you touch the layer count. It is very likely the better tool for this exact hardware mismatch, and it will save you the trial and error entirely. If neither gets you to a speed you can live with, the model is simply too far over the line for this card, and no flag combination changes that. That is a real outcome, and a guide that tells you when to stop tuning is more useful than one that promises every model runs everywhere if you just find the right setting. Before that number, though, there is a wrong turn worth walking through, because I took it. And it is the same wrong turn almost every guide on this topic quietly sends people down. The wrong turn is memory mapping. llama.cpp memory maps the model file by default, which means instead of loading the entire file into RAM up front, it lets the operating system pull pieces in as they get touched. On a model that fits in RAM, this is invisible and harmless. On a 22GB model sitting on a machine with, say, 16GB of system RAM, it is a trap. The tool will start. It will even generate a few tokens. Then it will slow to something closer to 1 token every several seconds. Because the operating system is now quietly paging weight in from disk every time a layer you did not preload gets touched, and disk is the 90 times slower tier from the physics section, not the 10 times slower one. The tool never tells you this is happening. Your task manager will show the GPU at low utilization, and you will assume the model is simply this slow, when what actually happened is that your RAM budget was never large enough to hold the CPU side layers in the first place, and the operating system is silently borrowing your SSD to cover the gap. The fix is not a new flag, it is a subtraction. Before you calculate your GPU layer count, calculate whether your remaining CPU side layers actually fit in system RAM once you account for everything else running on the machine. If they do not, the honest options are quantize the model further despite the earlier warning, buy more RAM, or accept that this particular model on this particular machine is going to run at disk speed no matter what you do to the GPU side of the equation. I want to be direct about this because most guides are not. No flag combination rescues a setup where the CPU side weight does not fit in RAM. You are not tuning your way out of that one. You are shrinking the model, adding RAM, or living with a number closer to 1 token a second than 11. I found the same trap described in a thread from earlier this year. A person running a 30 GB model on 16 GB of RAM, wondering why their generation speed cratered after the first response. The reply they got was blunt. Your working set does not fit. This is not a bug. This is what a page fault storm looks like from the outside. That answer applies here too. And it is worth having in your head before you spend an evening adjusting a GPU layer count that was never the actual bottleneck. There is also a quieter cost to all of this that almost nobody mentions until they hit it. Thermal and power behavior changes when a card is running partial offload inference for long stretches. A